Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about street trash. So this was a first time watch for me. I've wanted to see it for quite a while. I just never got around to watching it. There is a short film that this is based on. I saw that like quite a few years ago. I think that's just called Street Trash also. But yeah, I watched that quite a few years ago, but I've never seen the full length feature film. And I went into this. I didn't have huge expectations. I knew this was gonna be kind of like a sleazy, trashy B movie, which I like that type of stuff. But I didn't think it was gonna be like a groundbreaking movie. But even though I didn't go in with like crazy high expectations and I went in with realistic expectations. Just to be 100% honest, I was not the biggest fan of this movie. There was a lot that this movie had going for it. A lot of memorable scenes, a lot of great body horror stuff, beautiful practical effects, but just the overall movie didn't really do it for me. I wasn't the biggest fan. But with all that being said, now that I gave you all my opinion of the movie, I'm gonna get into a quick plot summary. So you got these homeless individuals. They're going to this liquor store to, get some alcohol, and the store clerk or the owner of the liquor store, he brought up this old, like discontinued liquor from the 1920s, and he's selling it for like discounted for like $1, and of course all the homeless people are buying it. It's a great deal. So the homeless people are buying this old liquor, and it turns out to be poisonous. They start like melting and exploding, and then there's this one police officer who's like trying to crack the case, solve the murders, see why all these homeless people are just turning up dead. And while that's happening, there's some other stuff going on. So the main the movie follows like a group of homeless individuals, but there is like one uh, main guy that the movie follows, like one main protagonist, and there's like there's like another aspect of the plot where the main guy, he hooks up with this mafia guy's wife. So then like the mafia guy's after him, and then there's also this like rival gang of homeless people. Not that the protagonist is in a gang, but just there's this gang of like villainous homeless people that are crazy, and they're also like a threat. So that's the basic plot summary. Now getting into the actual review, something that I really liked in this movie was the practical effects. That's pretty much why I wanted to see this movie. I feel like that's why this movie is known. This isn't like the most well-known movie, but you could say it's like a cult film. Like it has like a cult following. It's cult status. How many times am I gonna say cult? Like I think I'm a cult leader. Join my cult, I'm just kidding. I'm not a cult leader. That'd be sick though. But I'd be like a nice cult leader. Like I wouldn't pour anything in anyone's Kool-Aid. Like I would just like, maybe like just like hang with people and have a good time. Like maybe we would just be like the party cult. Like I would just be like, hey, come over and we can sip some drinks. But like hopefully not Viper. Like I'm not trying to explode over here. But yeah, anyways, the practical effects in this movie are absolutely fantastic. That's what this movie is known for. It's got, crazy body horror. It's, you got all these homeless people just melting and exploding in all these unique and creative ways. Like this one guy gets like sucked down the toilet. There's this one heavy set gentleman, he explodes. You see his like blood and guts everywhere. He's like bubbling up before, like you see like his stomach like contracting and expanding. Like there's so many unique and creative deaths, and every person who ingests Viper and starts like melt or explode, they they get all this like colorful like blood and pus like spewing out of their body, and they get all their body looks all like mutilated, and their like face is all like drippy and melty. It looks awesome. And all the blood and pus, it's all for like every single person, it's like different colors. It's all neon, like it'll be like blue and purple blood, or like bright yellow blood. It looks awesome. And that, I that's part of the reason why this movie is known, like I said. And I mean, that's, even though, like I said, even though I didn't absolutely like love the whole movie overall, I think it's worth watching just to see all these creative deaths, all this creative body horror, because it's top notch. And then I forgot to write this in my notes, but I'm just jumping around randomly. This was something that I wanted to mention. I like that there's this sequence where this like coroner is examining the dead bodies of the homeless people who passed away, and this fool is just chowing down on some sushi, and I really like that. I love how you see that in so many movies where there's a coroner or like a medical examiner, and whenever they're examining a dead body, they'll be like eating a sandwich right on top of the dead body, or like eating sushi right next to the dead body, just like so like nonchalant, just like, oh, oh, this is just another day for me. Like, I understand that they're desensitized, but they kind of play it up for laughs, like no coroner in real life is gonna eat their sushi right next to some exploded homeless guy's body. Like, I mean, there's desensitized, but you can't be that desensitized. Like, there'd be all kinds of smells going on. Like, you gotta go in the break room to enjoy your sushi. Plus, I mean, in real life, there's like, you can't just like eat your food next to the body. There's like laws and stuff. Like, maybe in the 80s you could get away with that. Probably not though, still, but it's just like a movie thing. But I always like when movies have that, like they have like a coroner and he's always just like, they're just eating right next to the dead body. I think I've mentioned that in a lot of reviews. Like, I was doing like a Terrifier review, and the guy's like, hey man, give me like a egg and bacon sandwich or something. Give me a bacon breakfast sandwich. And they're like, how could you be thinking about eating at a time like this? Like, that's just like it's like a trope. If you see a coroner in a movie examining a body, they're gonna whip out a sandwich. They're gonna whip out some snacks. That's how it goes. So I like that. Something that I didn't like about the movie was, I feel like there was not a lot of story whatsoever, and this movie just like jumped around a lot, and it, even though there was a lot of cool practical effects and memorable sequences, the movie dragged a lot for me. A lot of the movie I felt was boring, and it didn't really like retain my interest. Like, I'm like, okay, that's cool, but then like all the stuff in between, all of the cool like body horror stuff and all like the fun crazy sequences, it was just like fluff, and I couldn't get into the movie overall, even though I did like a lot of aspects of it. So I had to mention that, because I'm actually mentioning a lot of positives, even though I wasn't a huge fan of this movie. I'm just gonna get into some scenes that I like. So there's this one guy, he's always like rocking a gas mask, and there's this one sequence where he goes to a grocery store and he's just stealing all kinds of food, just like throwing it down his pants, and he's just throwing like 50 chicken breasts down his pants, and he gets caught, and he has this like funny interaction with the manager. I really like that. That reminded me of like back in the day, you know, sneaking snacks into the movie theater. We would call it sacking snacks, like, because you throw it like down in the waistband, like because you couldn't just throw it in your pocket. We'd throw it like right under the belt, So sacking some snacks. That fool was sacking some snacks. He was throwing some. That's hardcore. Like, we would throw some sour gummy worms down the pants, but like this fool was throwing, full on chicken breasts. Like, that's dedication, man. Like, I mean, I guess he already like smells bad and is dirty. So I mean, what's some chicken juice gonna do? I mean, he's trying to eat. It's like, it's not easy. out here for homeless fools. They're eating, you know, a bunch of BS. So like he's trying to eat good. I respect it. Another scene that I liked, that this scene was absolutely iconic. I think this is like a very memorable scene from this movie that if people have seen this movie, they probably will mention this scene. These fools, they're playing hot potato with a dude's member. All right, so this one guy, I think I mentioned him earlier. Maybe I might not have mentioned him, but he's this homeless guy. He's this Vietnam vet. He's got just crazy PTSD. This dude's nuts. He like makes knives out of out of like human bones. So he just randomly chops this one guy's package off, and all the homeless people are like running around the junkyard throwing this guy's package like it's a gosh darn Nerf football, and they're just like throwing it like they're like it's like some kids, some kids on the playground where they stole some kid's like toy or his lunch or whatever, and they're just like throwing it back and forth, and the kids like give it back, but it's the dude's dick, dude. It's his family jewels they're throwing around, and the one guy's trying to get it so he can put it on ice and save it. That scene was iconic. It was crazy. You actually see his package quite a bit. Like, of course it's a fake one, but you see it a lot, and I'm like, this is crazy. But that's what I expect from this movie. I expect this movie to be like crazy and sleazy and trashy. I mean, it's in the name, street trash. It better be trashy. That's what we're here for, like a trashy B movie. I'm all here for it. But yeah, that scene was crazy. That was iconic. I mean, what other movie has that? But I was cringing during that whole thing because I was just like, I had to like hold my package when I was watching it. I was like, oh man, oh geez, dude, oh goodness gracious, that was scary. And I mean, yeah, like, just in speaking of just like, I didn't, even though I did expect this movie to be like trashy, I didn't expect that. And then there was some stuff with, this guy doing some stuff to a dead body. I was not expecting that, and that made me cringe a lot too. I was like, oh no, man. Like, oh, ooh. Like, that's the type of comedy in this movie, like super dark comedy. This movie, it's, it's supposed to offend everyone. Like, that's like the fun of it. It's like one of those ultra offensive, just trashy, no holds barred B movies. I respect it for that, but like the scene where the guy's like doing some stuff with a dead body, you don't see anything, but it's like more like implied. Well, you kind of see it, but yeah, you don't see anything that crazy. But like, this movie goes there, man. And I mean, I was expecting it to be trashy, but like, I had no idea. Like, this movie was nuts. But like I said, I respect it for that. I like, it's kind of has that like trauma movie vibe to it, where like, trauma movies they go crazy with the inappropriate stuff, and that's kind of why you watch it. Because like a normal movie, like a $50 million blockbuster is like appealing to everyone. They don't want to offend everyone. This movie will offend anyone, and it doesn't care. It's not trying to be like the most marketable movie, appeal to every single demographic. Like, it's one of those movies, like midnight audiences are gonna watch it. It's like, it was probably big on like, VHS rental. Like, it's like, it has its audience of hardcore people, so it doesn't need to, be all soft and tame. So I respect it for that. And yeah, that was pretty cool. This movie definitely had balls, so I respect it. I pretty much talked about everything. I just have like a couple familiar faces that I remember, that I recognize from the movie, that I'm gonna shout out, and then I'm gonna give you all my recommendation and head out here. So I'm a fan of like Frank Henenlotter movies, uh, and you know one of his movies that he did is Frankenhooker, and the main guy from Frankenhooker is in this. He doesn't have a huge role, but you know he's in this for quite a few scenes, so it was cool to see him because I'm a big Frank Henenlotter fan, and Frankenhooker is pretty good. I like a lot of Frank Henenlotter movies, but yeah, Frankenhooker is pretty good, so it was cool to see him. His name's James Lorenz. So yeah, it was cool to see him. Nice familiar face. He had this like kind of post credit scene that was actually really funny. He was funny in the movie, and then another familiar face is R.L. Ryan, who he was in like the first Toxic Avenger, and he was in Class of Nukem High. He's like this big heavyset gentleman. He would always play like the villain in Choma movies, and he was kind of like a villain in this. He was like a sleazy, nasty guy. He was a bad individual. He's the guy who got it going on with the deceased body, man. So yeah, he was actually, I guess he was a villain. Yeah, he was a bad guy. But yeah, I like, Toxic Avenger and Nukem High. I like those movies, so it was cool to see him as well. He was pretty good in this. But yeah, those are my little shout outs, little familiar faces that I recognized. Now I'm gonna get into my recommendation, and here's the deal. Even though I was not a big fan of this movie, and I don't think the story was that good. Not that this calls for like a great story, but even for this type of like sleazy B movie, I thought there was like no story, and this movie was kind of boring. Even though I do believe that, and I did say that, I would still recommend this movie just for some of the like that crazy scene with where they're playing hot potato with the man's junk, and then it's also worth it just to see all the crazy body horror with all the homeless individuals exploding and melting and all these crazy neon colors. So even though I wasn't the biggest fan of the movie, I would still recommend it. But don't go out and spend a lot of money. Like, watch it for free on streaming if you can, or maybe pick it up for like $10 or less. But I wouldn't really like spend more than that on this movie. It's not the best like B movie ever. It's cool though. But yeah, that's my recommendation. So I've pretty much said everything I want to say about Street Trash. So I'm gonna head out here, and before I head out, I just want to say thank you all for watching, and peace out.